Earlier, I spoke with Mississippi Republican Congressman Michael Guest, who also serves as the chairman of the Subcommittee on Border Security and Enforcement. Congressman Michael Guest, thank you so much for joining.
Steve, thank you for having me on today.
It's great to have you with us, Congressman. So President Trump said that he could legally invoke what's called the Insurrection Act to address violent crime in Chicago. Do you think that crime has become normalized in major cities like Chicago, like Portland? And is the president taking the right approach to restore law and order?
You know, I think that what we've seen, particularly in major urban areas, often under Democrat control, is you have seen a rise in crime, particularly violent crime. We've seen some of that because of the flood of immigrants that have poured across our borders. We've seen a lot because we have progressive prosecutors who refuse to prosecute. We have court systems that now allow cashless bail systems. Individuals are allowed to commit one crime after the other and be continually let out to continue their reign on terror. And so I think the president is right. People want to be safe. Public safety is one of the most important aspects of individuals. And when you look at quality of life, the president understands that. And if local law enforcement is not going to step up and do the job, the president has come forward and said that he intends to surge federal resources. We saw that happen in D.C., be very successful. We've seen that happening in Memphis, also successful in Memphis, and the president is prepared to replicate that model across the country.
Critics say ICE is operating too broadly to maximize their arrests, regardless of criminal record. What do you say to those who are concerned with that aspect?
You know, again, we are enforcing the rule of law. If Republicans are truly the party that we claim to be, a party that believes in law and order, then we must enforce the law. And those individuals who are allowed to come across the border, those individuals who are not here legally, they have no legal status, those individuals should be returned to their country of origin. We know some of those individuals are people who have been charged with crime. We've seen that ICE has been very aggressive returning those. We have others that have been through the process. There are orders of removal where an immigration judge has reviewed their claims for asylum, found those claims to be lacking. ICE is very aggressive in removing those individuals. And so, look, I think ICE is doing what the American people voted for when they elected President Trump. They wanted someone who was going to, one, secure the border, and the president has been able to do that. And then, two, who was going to be look at deporting those individuals who had entered the country illegally under the Biden-Harris administration. And so I applaud the administration for what they're doing, and I hope that they will continue their aggressive enforcement.
So speaking of law enforcement, with the government still shut down, President Trump is repurposing, looks like $8 billion from the Department of War to ensure that troops, our active duty military, are paid. Is there any concern that our federal officers that are protecting federal buildings in Portland, ICE, Homeland Security agents, might run out of funds to get paid? And is there something that Congress could do or something in the line to make sure that that doesn't happen?
That is a concern of this administration. That is a concern definitely of myself and fellow Republicans. We know that last Friday, employees of the Department of Homeland Security, roughly 250,000, they received only a partial paycheck, about 70% of what they would normally be paid. The next pay cycle, which would be a week from this Friday, if Congress does not intervene or if the president does not stop in, those officers, those men and women who are protecting us will receive none of the pay that they are entitled to. We do know that the president, just as he did with the military, is looking for ways where he can repurpose money temporarily to make sure that they're paid. I have been a strong advocate of making sure that we are paying not only our military, but our federal law enforcement and our air traffic controllers. I'm prepared to return to Congress and vote on legislation to that extent if that is something that our leadership chooses to do. But it is important that we make sure that we are paying those individuals who are placing themselves in harm's way to protect us. And you're right. You mentioned ICE agents, what we've seen in Chicago, we've mentioned what we've seen in Portland. But outside of those, we know that our federal law enforcement agencies, that they perform a very difficult job each and every day to protect us and keep us safe. And we must make sure that we are prioritized paying them the salary that they have earned.
What are you hearing about the shutdown, Congressman? There's been, some reports that the Democrats are waiting out at least for this weekend because they're scheduled to have what they call the No Kings protests across the country, which is also going to put a very big drain on law enforcement, amplifying the protests that are already underway in Chicago and Portland.
Hearing the same thing. It is very unlikely that the shutdown will end between now and this weekend, that the earliest that anyone expects there to be really any movement will be sometime next week. What I'll say about the shutdown is clearly this shutdown is about politics, not about policy. The Democrats want to try to make this out to be over health care, but they've offered no real plan. Even when there have been ideas floated about a temporary extension, we've seen that Jeffries has said he's not looking at a one-year extension, that he wants a permanent extension. And so there's really been no movement as far as any negotiations. I will say this. I think the president has done his job to try to minimize the pain during this shutdown. He's looking at paying our military. He's looking at paying our federal law enforcement agencies. He's looking at funding WIC. He is looking to try to find funds to keep the government open, to try to minimize the harm to the American people, which is really the complete opposite of what we've seen with Chuck Schumer and Leader Jeffries. And so I'm optimistic that maybe after this No Kings rally, that there will be some conversation and that there will be Democrats who are willing to come to the table and reopen the government for that brief 7-week window so that we can finish the appropriations bills.
Chairman of the Subcommittee on Border Security and Enforcement, Mississippi Congressman Michael Guest, really appreciate it.
Thank you, Steve.